time, everybody, and welcome to the Jersey Shore podcast. Today, we've got a packed show from breaking news to topics that will keep you informed. So please click the subscribe button to get notified of upcoming episodes. If you like what the Hammer talked about, then share the Jersey Shore podcast to others. Damon also looks forward to your comments during this episode. Tonight's Jersey Shore podcast starts.
Hey everybody, this is it is Jersey Shore, and I am not Damon Galdo. He is busy out getting signatures for his run for Congress in Jersey, which is weird because in Maryland we don't have to get signatures to run. We just run. You go to the election board, fill out the paperwork, and pay your money, and you can run. So it's kind of weird that y'all have to do that in New Jersey, but it is New Jersey. So there's that. So he's busy doing that to make sure he can run and take care of business there. So he asked me to sit in for him. And I said, sure, why not? So here I am. Got a guest. We'll get with him in a second. We're going to run through the breaking news, and then we'll jump right into it. So the first thing that came up with the news that I thought was pretty interesting, we can bring up that picture from the New York Times. Excuse me. Iran sends out suspected operational trigger to activate sleeper cells abroad after Khomeini's death, U.S. officials warn. And a little bit more in depth than that, Iran sent out a possible operational trigger to activate sleeper assets abroad after the war with America and Israel began. The coded signal was sent out following the death of the supreme leader with a message appearing to hold instructions for covert operatives and sleeper assets. The message could be intended to activate or provide instructions to pre-position sleeper assets operating outside the country, the alert warned. Do I think that's like the truth? I don't know. But I do know that Iran is the world's biggest sponsor of terrorism, so I wouldn't put it past them. I would take that as a red flag, not a guaranteed warning, but something you should be aware of. And again, just be situationally aware. Just know what's going on around you. You don't have to be panicky. You don't have to lock yourself in a safe room or a bomb shelter. Just be aware of what's going on, and you'll be okay. If you can carry a weapon legally, I would advise you to carry your weapon. Be proficient with it. Know what you're doing with it. Just normal, everyday things. Just be aware of what's going on around you, and I'll get into that a little bit later. What we have next is some actual video from Iranian TV. Showing the supreme leaders as they were picked and kind of giving their little spiel. Again, this is exclusive to us. We had to go through a lot of crap and red tape to get this for you. So we're going to go ahead and play it and let you watch it, and you can see what we're dealing with over in Iran.
The assassination of the Supreme Leader of the Islamic Republic of Iran is a great crime. As the new Ayatollah of the Islamic Republic of Iran, I pledge that this atrocity will not go unanswered. With all our strength and determination, we will make the perpetrators of this crime regret the dawn.
The assassination of the new Ayatollah of the Islamic Republic of Iran is a great crime. As the new Ayatollah of the Islamic Republic of Iran, I pledge.
This is hard to get.
Hello? New Ayatollah here. Look, I really didn't want this job, okay? I just joined the government like 3 weeks ago, and I was sitting in a cubicle way off in the corner, and next thing I know, some folks talking across the office are all like, let's get Ahmed to do it. No one will miss him. I heard you guys. So, yeah, I'm just hoping we can all be cool here. There's no need for things to get all... Oh. Wait a minute. False alarm. It's just my new pager. It's the latest model. You can even play Snake on it. In fact...
So I'm the no Ayatollah, and I know the drill.
So yeah, we had to go through a lot of red tape to get that. As you can see, they're burning through leaders left and right. It's got to be pretty, demoralizing to have to go through that. But that came straight from our secret connections high up in the government. So we'll hopefully can bring you some more stuff like that in the future. Again, that's exclusive to us. Thanks to the B, Babylon B. We appreciate them. Funny, I don't know if you ever followed them, but they're very funny. You should check out their pages. They are definitely worth it. They're very funny. All right, so excuse me. Let's get our guests involved here and start talking about some really important stuff that we need to talk about. And again, we have the chat. You can join in anytime and ask your questions. Again, I will try to get to your questions. Sometimes I don't get to them. It's not that I'm ignoring them. I'm just not paying attention, and I apologize for that. But feel free to post some questions up there. I'll try to get to them, or comments, or a recipe for banana bread. Whatever you want to put up there, you can put up there. That would be awesome, and I will try to get to it. So let's bring our guest on in here. We'll have him introduce himself. He's been on before. This is your second time on the show, right? You've been on here 2 times now.
Yes, 2 times, yeah.
So just go ahead and give a little spiel about yourself in case people haven't seen you before.
All right, well, hello, everybody, again. My name is Engles. I am a volunteer and an intern for the New Jersey Republican Party. I worked on Jack Ciattarelli's campaign, and right now I'm working on Damon Goldo's campaign for Congress. So we're hoping that he's going to win. He's actually currently in Camden County right now getting signatures. So we hope that he'll do well over there. So, yeah, thank you for having me again, Seth.
How's his campaign going? You would know more than I would. How's it grinding on?
Well, I actually don't know. What were you doing when you were 15?
Me? Getting in trouble. That's just me, though. All
right, fair enough. Well, yeah, we're doing great. We got the campaign infrastructure ready. Damon's going to be getting some, he already got the endorsements from all 3 counties, so we don't have to deal with that. Right now, we don't have any competition, so it's pretty hard to lose.
That's a good thing, though.
Pretty hard to lose when you don't have any competition. So we're not really focusing on the primary. Obviously, we're going to win the primary, so we're just focusing on beating Donald Norcross and getting ready for the general election. So that's our main concern right now. As for the primary, I think that'll just show how many Republicans we can get out to vote, how many people are ready and prepared to vote for Damon Goldo in the general election, and how many people we can turn out to vote. That's the main thing for the primary.
I mean, I've been through a few elections in my short time on this planet, and I have noticed, and I don't know why. I really don't know why Republicans don't really show up. They don't. Out. And I've never figured out why. I hope that changes. That needs to change.
I think it's just that, I think that it's sometimes it's difficult to turn out for a Republican, sometimes. Not all the time. Sometimes it's much more harder to turn out for a Democrat than it is to turn out for a Republican. So, every party has its ups and downs. Every candidate has its ups and downs. It's just a matter of getting people out to vote, getting people engaged.
Yeah.
Because, this is our country. And if we're not prepared to get involved and do what's necessary to help our country out, it's very difficult to move as a nation if we can't get that very basic thing out of the way, which is getting involved, going out to vote, and contributing to your country.
I don't mean to wipe my nose in front of you, but
yeah, it's fine.
It's running like a marathon race. And he's running against what's the guy's name again? Fredo?
Donald, what?
Damon calls him Fredo?
No, his name is Donald Norcross.
Fredo from The Godfathers. I'm smart like everybody.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah, believe me. He's like a mafia boss.
Damon told me that the other day, and I couldn't stop laughing about it.
Yeah.
But then again, that's kind of an old reference. So when he says it, I'm sure, like you, most people go, "Who? Who's Fredo? What the hell?" Yeah, Damon's old. He's old.
Yeah, a little bit. I think he
I'm
might be
older
younger
than
than
him.
my dad.
I'm older than him. I think I got shirts older than Damon, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I do.
Wow.
Wear shoes older
Wow.
than him. So the first segment we're going to get into kind of covers a lot. We're going to go and talk about Iran. We have a picture. I think it was the other night when we sent them some loving. I'll show that picture. I believe this is when we missiled the refinery the other night and did some heavy damage. Anytime you hit fuel depots, ammo depots, military sites, it's damaging. No matter what the enemy tells you, like, oh no, it's not a big deal. That's fine. That didn't bother us. It bothered them. That's fuel.
Yeah.
Did you see the reports of the black rain that were apparently falling, I think today, from the explosions and the smoke?
I did actually. Yeah, I did. It's this is really proving to them that the war that they're waging, it's not turning out well for them. The only strategic asset that they have currently is the Strait of Hormuz.
Yes.
And that is only threatening Russia and China's oil supply because we have enough oil here domestically. We actually provide most of the oil to Europe, if I'm aware. So strategically, we're okay with the Strait of Hormuz closing. The only powers that are not okay with that is China, which gets most of its oil from Iran, actually, and uses the Strait of Hormuz, which they're now threatening to close as a bargaining chip, I guess, against the United States. They're saying, if you don't stop your war, Mr. Uncle Sam, if you don't stop your war, we're gonna cut off your oil, and it's gonna be like 1979 all over again. But the difference is that in 1979 we didn't have such a large oil capacity within the United States domestically. Now we have the pipelines going to Alaska. We have the pipelines in the West Coast. So we have a much larger domestic oil and fuel capacity than we did in 1979. That's why, when the Islamic Republic came to power, they were able to threaten the United States with oil prices, and that's why the oil prices and the gas prices, they rose so high during the 1970s. But now they don't have that threat anymore. The real threat is not towards the United States with closing the Strait of Hormuz, but it's against China and Russia. So it's very clear that either China or Russia, one of those two countries, they're going to get involved, but they're not going to get involved on the side of Iran. They're probably going to convince Iran to mediate because they need their oil. They really need their oil because that's how they fund their military. That's how they fund their factories. That's how they fund their economy. So, pretty soon we're going to start seeing countries like Russia, like China, start coming to Iran and saying, Iran, you got to get to the bargaining table because this can't last forever. You can't just blockade the entire world forever. It's just not going to happen unless you want every single country to invade you.
And I think another thing that Iran's not thinking about, and I'm not trying to say I'm in their heads or anything, their Navy is nothing compared to the U.S. Navy. Absolutely. I don't think. I think the biggest thing they had was the drone aircraft carrier, and that's unusable now. We've damaged that to beyond, I think, repair at this point.
Yeah.
So I think most of this is saber rattling and posturing. Like, we're going to do this. I think if push comes to shove, and we just send in like an Aegis missile destroyer into that strait, they're going to back off. They'll have no choice. Yeah. So I think they're just posturing, trying to let everybody think, hey, they're not bothering us. You can't do anything. We're Iran. We're going to fight back and win. You can't. You can't. We are the most awesome military on the face of the planet, whether you like that or not, whether you think it's a waste of money or not. It's a fact. We have the most technologically advanced military in the world. I mean, and we proved it in Venezuela with sound weapons and stuff like that. So yeah, they're going to do it. And I think, like you said, either they're going to see the U.S. Navy rolling in and go, okay, we need to back down, or it's either going to be Russia, China going, look, you can't do this. You're affecting us now. This is not just America. Yeah. You're screwing over. You're doing it to us, and we can't have that now. It'll be either or.
Yeah.
And just so everybody can see, I found some pictures of there's two aircraft carriers on station. That's the Abraham Lincoln and the Gerald, the USS Ford, which is the largest aircraft carrier in the world. I think it's like almost 2,000 feet long. It displaces about 100 tons of water. So let's bring up the first one. I think the first one is the Lincoln. Yeah, that's the USS Lincoln. It's still a Nimitz class carrier, which means it's larger than it has been in the past, but not quite as large as the Ford. So that's the Nimitz. That's on station. I think they're in the Gulf right now. Lincoln's in the Gulf. The next one is the USS Ford. They're on station in the Med, so they're a little bit closer. That is the largest aircraft carrier in the world. It has when it's fully has a full accompaniment of crew members. It has 4,500 plus personnel. Carries 75 plus aircraft. It's about almost 1,700 feet long, and it, like I said, displaces about 100,000 tons of water. It is a monster. It's a floating city. So that's on station, and I believe it's the USS H.W. Bush, another aircraft carrier, is on its way to be on station. And normally they don't have two aircraft carriers this close in the same area because it's not tactically sound. You don't want your biggest, most important ships that close together. Same reason why you don't have the president and vice president appearing at the same time at the same place for various reasons. So we have three on board, or three on state, two on station, one coming in. Plus, I can't remember how many Arleigh Burke class guided missile destroyers they have out there, plus all the submarines they have out there, plus the 50,000 plus troops in the region that are there. So yeah, we're not being shy about what we want to do. We want Iran to understand we want to decimate them. This is not a little stop it. This is, we're going to beat you down and keep you down until you realize that you're not good people. Your government is horrible. You kill your own people. Do you think we're going to put boots on the ground?
Concerning boots on the ground, well, I think that this administration is going to end up having to put boots on the ground because. And I do not think that that's a good thing at all. But unfortunately, I think that that's what's going to happen because the Trump administration made it clear that their goal in this war, it's not just to, threaten them, get them, like just go in and get out, like what we did in Venezuela or what happened during Desert Storm. The goal of this administration is to do a regime change in Iran. So you cannot do a regime change in Iran without putting boots on the ground. It's just impossible. If we were just using naval and aircraft, we would not be able. We can't just bomb them into doing a regime change. It doesn't matter how many officials we bomb. It doesn't matter how many major cities we bomb, how many military assets. You cannot do a regime change unless you have the military there occupying their capital city, occupying every single part of the country. So unfortunately, it seems like they're going to do a boots on the ground operation, which is what we don't want to see at all.
No.
And I think it's been made even clearer by the appointment of the new Ayatollah of Iran, Mojtaba Khomeini, who was chosen by their so-called Council of the Wise. So I'm not sure how wise they could be, but Mojtaba Khomeini is known for being a very hawkish figure within Iran government, and he's very hawkish on the war. He's a very clerical, very staunch opponent of the United States. So he has made it clear, essentially, that they're going to continue the fight. And what they did, if they had picked like a moderate or a reformist, that would have been the olive branch that the U.S. government would have needed to say, okay, maybe they're going to come to the negotiating table. Maybe we'll get a deal struck by perhaps May or by June or by July, by sometime then. But by choosing a hardliner to join to become the next leader of Iran, they're basically saying, they're basically saying that we're going to fight this until the end. If you want to win, you're going to have to kill us all. That's what they're saying, essentially.
Damon, can you bring up his picture? I think I put it out of order, the Khomeini. There he is. Yeah, he's a 56-year-old hardliner.
Wow. He's 56.
Yep, he's a hardliner. He, like you said, he is not for reform. He wants nothing to do with the West. He is definitely, and I believe that's he's the son of the recently deceased
Yes, he is the son.
Supreme Leader. So he is definitely his father's son. He has no desire to do anything except keep his country the way it is. And like you said, this does not bode well for peace talks. This doesn't make anybody go, oh, they really don't want to do this. We need to talk. You're right. And I think as far as the boots on the ground, the Kurds are going in now. I think we've given them some intel and they're rushing in and hitting some cities from what I understand. I don't know how effective they're going to be, but maybe they're hoping that'll be our boots on the ground and we don't have to commit U.S. troops.
I'm not sure if you have the clips of that, but I actually saw some footage from some news sites showing the Kurdish military moving into Iran, and they have a lot of weaponry. They have tanks, well, not many tanks, but they have trucks, armored vehicles. They have a lot of infantry, a lot of weapons. Most of the military, actually, surprisingly, is made up of women.
Oh, really?
Most of them in the Kurdish military is made up of women, surprisingly, which I did not know that. But from all the videos that we've seen, most of them seem to be women, actually, who are leading the fight. So I'm not sure if that's because of Sharia law, that it may be the reason that a lot of women are fighting, or if it's just due to the lack of population. But a lot of women are actually fighting against Iran for Kurdish independence. The main issue, though, that I would bring up with the Kurds is that I don't think they have many goals besides giving Kurdistan independence. I don't think they want to go all the way to Tehran.
I don't think they do either.
It's like, it's like asking a regional state like Chechnya. You remember the Chechen War, right? The Chechen War of 1994. That's like asking the Chechens, hey, Chechnya, do you want to go all the way to Moscow and take that over for us? You want to go see Boris Yeltsin? You want to go have a chat with him? Why don't you do that? So I think that while that was a little bit of a more dramatic, comparison, I think that the Kurds, they might be an asset, but mostly they just want to give their country independence, which is obviously a very noble goal.
Oh, yeah.
But that doesn't serve American interests in the region at large. So unless the Kurds are willing to go all the way to Tehran and occupy the government, which I don't think is very likely, we're going to see boots on the ground, which is unfortunate.
My thing when it comes to depending on like local, and for lack of a better word, militias or local, or regional tribal things like this, their ideas and their loyalties sway. Just because they're fighting for us now does not mean in 3 or 4 months they're still going to want to fight for us. I don't think we, like you said, I don't put much faith in them, not because who they are, just because of that region and the history in that region never stays the same for an extended period of time. And I don't. I would like to think they could do that, but I don't. Like you said, I don't think they can do it, or they don't have the will to go all the way to Tehran. I just don't want American troops on the ground. I hope we can avoid that at all. I hope the bombing puts the fear of God into these people. And like, look, they're not even putting boots on the ground yet, and they're parking lot in our country. We can't win this. There's nothing we can do. I hope it gets to that point. I don't know, but they're religious zealots, so they can justify anything they do in their head and say, well, Allah wills it, and we all have to sacrifice a family member to beat the great Satan. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't go that way. And there was another picture of the Strait of Hormuz we kind of talked about a little bit. We're going to – I think that's probably why the Bush carriers coming out, we're probably going to park that within range just to put the fear of God in Iran. Because, again, you got Grandpa with a shotgun in his canoe claiming to be the Iranian Navy, and then you got a super aircraft carrier rolling up on you. It's intimidating. I was on an LPH, which is a midget aircraft carrier. We carried helicopters, and we were an amphibious assault craft, so we carried Marines. I never saw a ship in another country as big as ours, and we were smaller than an aircraft carrier. So I can't imagine rolling up to Iran in a super aircraft carrier and them not wetting their pants. Just like that's a floating city with 75 warplanes on it. We don't even have a ship half that size. And they've got 40 ships around it. What are we doing? Why are we here? They're going to end us. And I hope cooler heads prevail. I really hope someone in Iran finally goes, look, we can't compete. We can't, no matter what. There's nothing we can do. War is never good. And I know this is not a war yet. I know it's just an action, and that's fine.
Well, yeah.
It's not going to go the way I think everybody's thinking it's going to go, unfortunately, which is sad. And another sad thing is that the neighbors of Iran are paying for it. They're attacking them, and they're not even involved. They should avoid. Can't do it now.
Yeah, I think that I agree with your. I agree with your sentiment that war is not always good.
Correct, not always.
But never is a strong word, because the War of American Independence, that was a good war. I put war into three categories. There is righteous war, which is war for a just cause. Like World War II would be an example of a righteous war.
I agree.
Which was us fighting against the Nazis, fighting against the National Socialists who were trying to exterminate millions of people. Then there is holy war, which is also good. An example of holy war would be the Crusades, right? We don't have a lot of holy wars now. We don't have a lot of holy wars now, but the Bible does support holy war. There's a lot of examples of holy war in the Bible.
Yep.
For example, the war against the Amalekites with Israel, fighting against the Amalekites, the war against Babylon. So those are examples of two sorts of good war, if there can even be a phrase, good war.
Right, I got you.
And then the last type of war is pointless war. And pointless war is just war for the sake of war. So essentially, pointless war is when you have let's go to war because they're raising our taxes. Let's go to war because of that. Or let's go to war because this ambassador called me a bad word.
No, I firmly believe sometimes violence is the answer. I do believe that sometimes.
Yeah. So those are the three types of war in my book.
No, I agree with that. I do.
And I think that this war is kind of in between. It's in between a just war and a useless war, because on one side of the argument you have, obviously the Iranian regime is evil and they're doing horrible things to their people and they need to get destroyed. But also, it's obviously not a good idea to be getting into another war in the Middle East.
Yeah.
So that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, Middle East wars tend to drag on. They don't.
Yeah, they take a while.
Yeah, they never end. They kind of just okay, we're done. We're leaving.
And also, by the way, one more thing on Kurdistan. We need to be very careful with the Kurds because, as you know, during the Soviet Afghanistan war, we were supporting the Taliban. We were actually supporting the Taliban. And 20 years later, now you see where they are. They're attacking Americans. I was about to say they went for the Twin Towers, but no, that was Al Qaeda. But the Taliban was obviously fighting against the United States. So, while I'm not saying that the Kurds are going to do the same thing, because I'm pretty sure that they're good. They're good people, hopefully. But obviously, we have to be vigilant because we had the same idea about the Taliban,
right?
And now they're basically oppressing their people in the same way that Iran is.
Oh yeah,
even worse.
Yeah, I was going to say extreme. They're very extreme in their.
Yeah, I don't even think women can. I think it's illegal for women to sing in public in Afghanistan.
They can't go to school. They can't own. They can't work. They can't do anything there. At least I think in Iran they can be in public, and I think they can work. I'm not sure, but yeah, they're very extreme in their beliefs, and
I'm not sure if this is completely true or if this was just a joke, but my mom told me that apparently in those very fundamentalist Islamic countries that the woman can be exchanged for 5 goats. The daughter. And they have an entire exchange rate. So like 3 cows equals one daughter, but 5 goats will give you 1 daughter. I don't know if that's true.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm not sure if that's true, but that's just what I've heard.
I mean, it wouldn't shock me. I mean, they do some crazy. Well, to me, they do crazy. To them, it's probably everyday normal stuff, but to me, that's crazy. I'm sure they do crazier stuff than that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope we can avoid boots on the ground. I hope we can avoid that because we both have just said this is not going to end in 6 weeks if we put boots on the ground. This is going to be a long, drawn out.
Yeah, let's not think because I know a lot of people, a lot of people thought that the war in Ukraine was going to be a 3-day military operation. And I feel like a lot of those people who were saying that are now saying the same thing about Iran. And Ukraine, it went from being a 3-day military operation to a 3-year military operation.
And it's still ongoing.
So let's not get this idea that, Iran is going to surrender in a week, or Iran is going to surrender in 5 days or 3 days. No, this is going to be a long war unless they're willing to come to the negotiation table. And
like we just said, the appointment of the new supreme leader shows that they're not backing down. They're willing to go to the wall on this one.
But who knows? Maybe after we kill him, maybe they'll.
I'm surprised they haven't yet.
Maybe then they'll decide to come and negotiate.
And if anybody who's listening has any other questions about the war in Iran and how it should go, please feel free to get on Facebook. There are 25 million generals on Facebook that will gladly explain to you the military tactical mission that we should be doing and how it should go and how they would do it if they were in charge.
Military geniuses. They obviously graduated from West Point, top of their class.
I mean, there's Alexander the Great, Patton, and then the Facebook generals. These guys are incredible.
Yes.
I'm surprised the Pentagon hasn't called them yet, to be honest with you. Maybe they have. Maybe we just don't know.
Maybe they're running the country.
They could be. I mean, they are that smart. And they're so smart. They go from military genius to microbiologist to climate change expert to NASA scientist. They just know everything. And it's impressive to watch them work.
Literally, like the entire Library of Alexandria just got implanted into their brains. All the knowledge.
It's awe-inspiring.
They got the brain of Albert Einstein, Isaac Newton, Stephen Hawking. They got it all. All of it.
Throw Spock in there. You've got everybody. Yeah. They've got everybody.
What even is Spock?
All right, we need to take a quick break, and then we'll be back, and we'll talk about some more stuff that we find interesting.
All right.
Hey, it's great to be on with you. This is a great podcast. It's a lot of fun, and it's informative, and it's real information. It's none of the frills and none of the nonsense that you hear on the legacy media, just telling the story of what's happening right now. It's what I do with my newsletter that I get out to anybody who wants to see it. It's what you're doing with this podcast. America needs to know what the real deal is, and you're the real deal.
Hello.
That was pretty nice. That was off the cuff, and I think Damon was just interviewing him, and he just threw that out there. So that was pretty impressive. And good for Damon. He's a good guy, and has a great podcast, has a great radio show. Speaking of that, Alexander Levine Live will be having APN's first ever exclusive international interview with Martin, and I'm going to butcher his last name, and I apologize, Ugrosti. He is the Deputy State Secretary of the Prime Minister's Cabinet in Hungary, I believe. She will be interviewing him on Thursday, March 12th, 8 p.m. here. I think they're 6 hours behind us, if I remember correctly. So it's the best time for him. She'll be interviewing him for an hour. And they're going to be talking about energy, re-election of the prime minister, the illegal immigration, I guess they have in their country as well, and the U.S.-Hungary alliance. Again, that's going to be Thursday, March 12th at 8 with Alexander Levine Live. Should be pretty good. I might watch. I'm a little interested in that.
I'm surprised that they have an illegal immigration issue in Hungary.
When I went to Austria a few years ago for a wedding, and they have a big. I think their big issue with illegal immigration are Turks.
I thought that was in Germany that had the main issue, and that was with Syrians.
I think it's Germany has the Syrians, and if I remember correctly, it was the Turks in Austria. They had a big problem with them.
Oh, that's weird.
And
It's weird because Turkey is in NATO, but Austria isn't in NATO.
Right. And that
doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
And when I was there, I was talking to a friend of mine works in their White House, their government, and that was the big issue. And when people say, "Well, ICE is violent, they're rough," I said, "You have not been to Europe and watched the Polizei and their immigration people round up people. If you think we're violent, they are definitely, I guess they would call them barbarians if they think we're violent. They don't play around overseas. If it's time for you to go, it's time for you to go. They don't wait. Yeah. They come get you." So yeah, I always laugh when well, ICE is violent. You ain't seen nothing yet, baby. Go overseas, overstay your visa, find out what happens then.
Yeah. And it's surprising, like a lot of people, they say that Trump is being overly harsh on the deportations, but Obama actually carried out more deportations than we've seen in this term. Obama actually carried out, I think it was between 2 and 3.1 million deportations. And ICE was started under Bush, not Trump. But see, if it wouldn't be Bush, it would have been Obama.
But it's okay because that wasn't Trump doing it. It's all right then. It's fine.
Yeah.
That we can live with. Trump does the same thing. It's bad. We can't do it anymore.
Not even the same thing. Less. Trump does less.
Something similar to what was being done before. We can't do it because it's not right.
Yeah. Where were all the protests? Where were the Alex Preddies and the Renee Goods of the world when Obama was deporting 3.1 million people?
Oh, it was okay because it was Obama.
They were gone. They were celebrating Obama. They were saying he's the best president of our lifetime. And he's the best president. He's better than Lincoln. He's better than Washington. he's better than every single president. Better than Roosevelt.
He's the greatest thing next to sliced bread. And he was separating families. And not a word. It was okay.
I'm pretty sure that they started putting kids in cages under Obama.
I think towards the end of him, and then when Biden got in, he continued it.
Biden. I think I'm not sure if this is true, but Biden, I think he built more of the border wall than Trump, or at least he still built border wall.
Yes,
during his administration.
I mean, as much as you'd like to say they didn't do anything like that, it's false. They continued it, maybe not at the pace now, but they were still adding to it and enforcing the law.
Yeah, clearly it must have been a good strategy if they had to keep on doing it. It must have been a great idea.
It had to have been until Trump got it. Then it's not a good idea anymore. It's a horrible idea. Why are we doing this? Yeah. It has to stop. Excuse me. So the next segment here is called "Meanwhile Back at the Ranch" because there's still stuff going on here that is just as important, if not important, than what's going on halfway across the globe. I don't know if you've heard, but I'm sure you know, or you've heard. Mark Wayne Mullins has taken over.
Well, not yet. He still has to be confirmed.
Yeah, confirmed, right. He's still got to be confirmed. He is replacing, I'm sorry, Kristi Noem, who they say has resigned. Some people are saying she's fired. I guess that's however you want to read into it. But now she will become the special envoy for the Shield of the Americas, whatever the hell that means. I don't know.
Yeah, no, yeah. It's like they just put her in the kids' corner at that.
I was going to say, it's like a participation.
You got sent to the kids' table.
Thanks for coming. Here's your trophy. Get out. Do you agree with that? Do you think they should have let her go?
Well, honestly, Kristi Noem, I think that Kristi Noem, she had a very hawkish stance concerning Minneapolis to the point that Trump had to send Tom Homan over there. I think that, whether or not the people who were doing it were justified or not, the fact that there were deaths under her tenure, several deaths under her tenure, that's a bad look. And it was even worse considering that disastrous hearing before Congress. It was both before the House and the Senate Judiciary Committee. So I think it was time to let her go. I think you gotta put a good dog down sometimes, and she was really past due. We really had to put her down, because if we didn't, she would have just caused more damage to the administration. And I'm actually going to make a prediction. I think that we might see another cabinet reshuffle concerning Pam Bondi due to her situation with the Epstein files. Hegseth might end up on the chopping list. I'm not sure about that.
Really?
But many people are concerned about Hegseth's performance as a Secretary of Secretary of War, not Defense anymore.
No, it's War.
Secretary of War. But I think Pam Bondi might be on the chopping list. Maybe not, and maybe it won't happen even this year. Maybe not in the next few days. But she's definitely going to have to, reel it in a little bit, because the situation with the Epstein files, that's just really hurting her reputation, hurting the White House's reputation, hurting the president's administration in general.
Yeah.
I think that the Secretary Noam, she had to go. That's it.
I tend to agree, and I think when the excuse me, Alex Pettit thing happened and it was labeled immediately domestic terrorism before any investigation, I don't think that helped her at all either. I think that probably was one of the final nails in her coffin. Like, hey, we can't be doing this. You can't be calling people terrorists until we have an investigation. I mean, we got to pump the brakes on this, and she didn't. Hegseth, I'm a little shocked that you think he might go. I can see why. He's very abrasive if you're not.
Yeah.
If you don't understand where he's coming from, it can be taken as he's being.
And I'm not saying that he's doing a bad job.
Oh no,
I'm just saying that he's very susceptible to getting into a scandal. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
And I think it was on Hegseth's nomination that it required the tiebreaker vote from Vance. I think it was Hegseth.
I think you're right.
That required the tiebreaker. I know it was one of the nominations. It might have been Noam or Bondi, but I think it was Hegseth, and his nomination required a tie-breaking vote because the same thing they were saying about Brett Kavanaugh, that he's a drunk, he's a drinker.
Yeah,
he has a bad temperament, horrible temperament. That's what they were saying about him. So, I think he's doing a great job. Military recruitment rates, you should know about this because you were in the Navy. But the military recruitment rates have actually been skyrocketing.
Yes.
Millions, maybe not millions, but thousands of people are enlisting into the U.S. military, into the Space Force, into the Army, into the Navy, into the Air Force. So we're really seeing, the military getting back on track. But it's just that Hegseth, he's very abrasive. He's very, very, very strong. He comes off very strong.
Yes.
So he might be on the chopping block. Because he's not like Rubio,
No.
Rubio, whenever Rubio has a scandal, he brushes it off very quickly.
Yes.
Rubio is one of the very, very cool heads in the room.
Oh, yeah.
And you just don't see that with the rest of Trump's cabinet. I actually think that Rubio might be the best cabinet secretary right now as of this time.
I agree. I can't find fault with that man. Even if he says something wrong, he's just so smooth. It's like, oh, I can forget about it. He's a good guy. I'll let him slide on that.
Yeah.
But I like Hegseth because being in the military, he reminds me of an officer who's for the enlisted. He's not an officer who thinks I'm above you. I'm better. I'm an officer. He's one of those guys that I'm an officer, but I need you guys to be with me. I need you to work with me because together we're better than me working at you. That's why I like him. He doesn't look down on the troops. I think he looks at them as equals to everything. Like, hey, you're the ones on the ground fighting. We need you to be better than we need anybody else. I'm going to make you better however I got to do it. And that's why I like him. But I could see he rubs people the wrong way. I could definitely see that.
Yeah.
I hope not, because I do like a strong military leader. That's what you need in the military. You don't need wishy-washy. You need a megalomaniac running things because it's a tough job. At the end of the day, you're responsible for the lives of millions of people. It all comes down to you. And let's show a picture of Mullen so everybody knows what he looks like. In case nobody sees. I didn't know he was till this happened. So there we go. Never served in the military. Not that that's anything to detract from, but he hasn't. He says he's done some special assignments for the DOD previous to this. I think his big, I don't want to say famous for, but what he's known for is the smell of war speech or whatever he talked about in Congress, I believe. War has a smell, and a lot of vets kind of said, what the hell are you talking about? You've never been in a combat zone. What do you mean? I kind of understood what he was saying. Not even being there. It's like, you don't need to be on a roller coaster to know you're probably going to get sick. You don't need to go to war to know that it's horrible. You can just look at pictures and know, hey, that's probably no place I want to be.
Yeah, that's probably a bad thing.
Yeah. So I kind of understood where he was coming from, but I also understood the criticism. Hey, don't act like you've been on the front line putting lead down range because you haven't. Again, not being in the military is not I'm not saying he can't do the job simply because of that. I'm just pointing out what's been said about him and what people are pointing out. Hey, he wasn't in the military. He can't do this. You think he's going to do a good job?
Well, I'm going to be honest. The only thing I remember about this guy was when he tried to fight some guy on the floor of the Senate. When he said to that, I think he was the president of the Teamsters.
I think so, yes.
The Teamsters president, and he said, "Get your butt out of your chair. I'm going to punch you in the face. We'll find a place to fight." So I'm not sure if we should be having the guy that said, let's go fight, be the guy in charge of all the deportation.
Yeah, that might not be a smart move. We're both consenting adults. Let's go take care of this. Dude, relax. It's okay. It's all right.
Yeah, and based off the photo that you've given me, no, he looks amazing. Yeah, he's great. Yeah, he's definitely gonna be very calm. He's gonna look at everything. He's gonna look at every case. He's really gonna think about both sides of the aisle. He's really gonna be very compromising. I mean, just look at his face. I mean.
He looks like he's in the middle of like a deep thought right there. Like, what should I say? I want to think before I speak. What should I say?
Should I drink Budweiser?
Is this a whiskey day or a beer day? Let me think about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not sure what the criteria is for most of the positions that people get appointed to, because
honestly, all I know is that you have to be a member of the military to be a part of defense.
Right.
That's what I know. You have to have some sort of foreign policy credentials to be Secretary of State.
Yep.
Homeland Security, I think anybody could do it. Honestly.
That's kind of
because the first Secretary of Homeland Security was just the governor of Pennsylvania.
That's right, yeah.
Tom Ridge.
Right. Hey, you want to be charged of this? Sure. Why not? I'm free.
Yeah, they just picked it out. Yeah, Bush just gave it to the first guy he could think of. He probably gave it to him because he didn't want him to be the vice president in 2004.
That could be it. Or maybe he was the first guy that walked into his office when they made the department. Like, oh, there he is. You're in charge. Come on in.
Mr. President, I got this. I got the coffee for you. Oh, yeah, thank you for the coffee. You want to be the Secretary of Homeland Security?
Sure. Does it come with a pay raise? And I think this highlights the difference between Democrats and conservatives. We can laugh and make fun of people.
Yeah.
Democrats can't.
No.
They won't make fun of them.
When has a Democrat ever laughed about like Cory Booker?
Exactly.
Or laughed about
Crockett.
Tulsi Gabbard. Well, no, not Tulsi Gabbard. Laughed about Elizabeth Warren or something. God.
She's a walking comic strip.
Oh my goodness! Isn't she Pocahontas?
Yes.
Yeah,
she's like 1% of 1% of 1% Indian.
Yeah, and then she said
that's her.
And then she said, "I'm a Native American."
Yes. We could do a whole 3 hours on that crap because there's just so much like that going on. But yeah, Democrats will never laugh or poke fun of their own people. They just won't. And if you do it, they get offended. They get all nasty and scream and yell at you. So that we got that, and I guess with him we'll have to wait and see. I mean,
yeah,
he might turn out to be like the Babe Ruth.
Who knows? Maybe he's like Winston Churchill, you know?
Who
Because
knows?
Winston Churchill, he drank a lot, but he was great.
He got him through World War II. So
Yeah.
we'll wait and see. I'll reserve judgment until he gets. Let's see if he gets confirmed first. He might not even get that. Who knows?
Yeah, that's the difference between conservatives and liberals. Again, you know, liberals, they don't give anybody a chance.
No.
If they have an R next to their name, oh my goodness, this guy's gonna be the worst. He's gonna destroy the country.
He's an
Like, take a
antichrist.
moment and just like wait and see. Maybe he's not gonna destroy the country.
Yeah,
You never
agree.
know.
I agree. Sometimes you just gotta sit on your hands and wait. Hurry up and wait, like we used to say in the Navy. Hurry up and wait. So the next thing we'll talk about is it happened at Gracie Mansion over this weekend. I got the notes here. Let me get this pulled up. Two gentlemen, and I use the term very loosely. Amir Balat and Ibrahim Kayumi are being held without bail after they threw two improvised explosive devices that were apparently filled with nails, bolts, and nuts towards police officers in the crowd that were doing an anti-Palestine protest, or anti-Muslim protest. I think it was Jake Shields. Is that his name? He was having a big rally.
I think it's Jake. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. All I know is he was at January 6th, which also happens to be my birthday.
Happy birthday. Late.
Well, no,
early. How
January
do you want to look at it?
Yeah, it's March.
So early. Late. Early.
Yeah.
I have his name.
Like 10 months early.
Jake Lang. Jake
Lang.
Was having a one of his rallies there, and these two people who've already said they were inspired by ISIS decided to try to hurt people because Islam, the religion of peace, that's how they react to any slight that happens to them. They were from Pennsylvania. Not else much is known right now, except when they were being read their charges. Kayumi blurted out he was being arrested Saturday, that ISIS is the reason I did what I did. He is 18. He also told authorities later that he had pledged allegiance to the extremist group, and his cohort Kayumi, or I can't pronounce it, the other guy, 19, asserted that he was affiliated with the Islamic State group. I'm not, and they're both natural citizens. Their parents have been here for years, so I don't know how much truth there is to that. I don't know if they're just saying it because they want to try to impress somebody or scare people. I don't know.
Maybe they're trying to get maybe they're trying to get the Trump administration to back off Iran.
Could be. And in that picture here, we see that it was a fuse bomb. He lit it and threw it. Thank God it didn't go off. I think there was two they put out that didn't go off, so that's good. And this may be harsh, but I don't care. My question is, the police officers there, why didn't they shoot him?
Yeah, they should have shot him 50 times. Yeah.
I mean, that's a bomb. He's obviously has a bomb and he lit it. Yeah. Why didn't you put bullets in him?
Yeah, shoot him 10 times. I think that there's a lot that you can say about the police department and their conduct. Not because, whenever there's a critique about the police conduct, it's always about, the police, they use excessive force. Yes. But in this situation, they didn't use enough force. You got a guy throwing a bomb at you, a grenade, essentially. Yeah. And you don't shoot him in the head? I don't understand that.
I think what it is like you just said, every time the cops act, they go, you're over aggressive, we're going to sue you, you're going to lose your job. I think now when things like this happen, they pause. Am I going to get in trouble? Mm-hmm. Should I do this? I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to get in trouble. I think the Democrat society in this country has put the police in a position where now they have to second guess themselves.
Yeah, and New York City is run by Zoran Mamdani. Yep. So obviously he put in a lot of reforms to the police department, and we're seeing the effects of that. But I think that concerning that person, a lot of people are actually saying that it was like a false flag operation meant to just justify a war in Iran, continuing the war, which obviously to those people, I mean, those are going to be the same people that say, those are the same people that say that like the Twin Towers falling down, that was a justification, that was a false flag by the Bush administration to go into Iraq. It's just, I really don't buy that. And I don't know how anybody can.
Yeah. Well, people believe what they want to believe. And if you're predispositioned to think that, whatever you hear that backs up your thought, you're going to believe, regardless of who says it or how outlandish it may be. You agree with that, so that must be the truth. We just got a question for you. I just saw, put it up there. Should we implement restrictions on Muslim immigration?
Well, I think we already did, right? Didn't we do that in 2017 with the Muslim ban?
Yes.
I'm gonna say this. I think that we're a Christian country, obviously, so we need to implement policy that reflects that. So obviously, concerning Muslim immigration, it seems like a lot of the violence is coming from legal Muslim immigration.
Yes.
For example, before anybody gets very angry at me, let me just say this. Hold on. Okay, hold your horses. Okay, calm down. So, all of the, I'm not sure if it was all of them, but the vast majority of the 9/11 terrorist attackers were legal immigrants who came in from those countries. They came in from Saudi Arabia, from Afghanistan, from Iran. Well, I'm not sure about Iran, but they came from the Middle East.
Yes.
And they weren't illegal immigrants. They were legal immigrants. Mm-hmm. And they came in, and they were essentially almost like sleeper agents. Yeah. If you check the timeline of events, these people, they seemed very nonchalant. They didn't seem suspicious at all. They were actually, they left the hotel. They were staying at a hotel on the day that they were planning the attacks. So obviously, I think that there is a lot to say about legal Muslim immigration, because if legal Muslim immigration was what caused the 9/11 attacks, because the people that came here and did those things, they were legal immigrants, then obviously we need to put common sense regulations on that. But a broad Muslim ban, right now, I don't think that is necessary. Well, not necessary, but I don't think it's relevant to what's going on. I don't think so. I think they're just trying to bait me into a response with that. But
possibly. I personally believe that Islam in general, I'm speaking in generalities, I'm not saying specifically, in general, Islam is incompatible with the Western ideology. It doesn't mesh. And I think we need to keep that in mind when we allow people from Muslim countries to immigrate to our country, that they do not try to assimilate. They do not try to get along. They automatically go to where their people are, into towns and cities, and try to change that city into the country they just left from. I don't think they would allow me to go to their country and try to turn one of their cities into Las Vegas or New York City. I don't know how we handle that, other than putting a strict limit per year on people from Islamic countries immigrating to the U.S. I don't see any other way around it. Will that mean we're probably going to keep some good people out? Yes. I fully admit that we'll probably keep some people we should have here out, because it'll be tight to get in. But I would rather keep somebody out than have one of my countrymen killed for something that offends a Muslim person, like that guy that shot up the nightclub. That's unacceptable. That's just not acceptable to me. It needs to stop. And people forget that if we do that in their country, there is no court. You don't get to go to jail and have a lawyer and argue your case. They kill you, probably in the streets. So I don't want to hear about how we're horrible by wanting to, stop them from coming in. I don't want to hear it. I think we need to have some, like you said, common sense restrictions placed. I think it needs to be enforced. And I think if we find people who are from an Islamic country in our country that are not assimilating and trying to bring in their own beliefs and push them on other people, they need to be ejected immediately. That's just me. So they can yell at me. They don't got to yell at you. Speaking of people who probably should be
So
ejected.
let me
Go
just say,
ahead.
because there's a lot of questions that are being asked, a lot of questions being thrown. So I'll begin with the first question, which was given about 2 minutes ago by somebody called French Flag 9390. So concerning why should millions of Muslim Americans be held accountable for what 19 people did over 24 years ago? And I think that you could ask a lot of questions concerning that. Why do we still have to take off our shoes when we're going to the airport? Why do we still have to go through body scanners when we're going to the airport? It's a part of a broader safety, because obviously 9/11 wasn't the only attack orchestrated by Muslim radicals. There have been a ton of other attacks orchestrated by Muslims. We just talked about one earlier with what happened in New York. So I think that, it's better to be safe than sorry.
Yes.
I think that there is an issue within the United States of too much inclusivity. We are far too inclusive when it comes to, these people, they haven't done anything bad right now, so obviously they won't do anything bad in the future. Obviously not. But we can't take risks as a country. We took risks 24 years ago, and now 3,000 people are dead because of that. We took risks for far too long, and it led to a lot of issues. So we can't continue to take risks. And now for the other question by Cahosen 82783, also in a study published by the University of Richmond, it stated that police reforms and diversity in police force. Well, there it is. I'm going to be honest. I haven't seen that particular study by the University of Richmond. But, I mean, all we have to do is just look at the examples. We have to look at the examples of what happens when police reforms are enacted. Let me see. Let me think of this. When I believe it was in Chicago, a lot of police reforms have been enacted in Chicago.
Yes.
That have restricted the ability of the police to prosecute crime. And now Chicago is a war zone.
Yeah.
Now look at New York under the leadership of Rudy Giuliani during the 1990s. They had stop and frisk. While that had some civil liberty issues, we saw a decrease in crime in New York City under Giuliani with stop and frisk. Stop and frisk, it reduced the crime rate. It stopped a lot of crimes from happening. So I think that when you allow police to have more liberty to pursue justice and to prosecute crimes, you see crime decrease. When you start putting a lot of restrictions on the police, when you start restricting their movement, their access, what they get to have, what they can do, in what circumstance they can do it, we see crime go up. So obviously, it may increase approval of law enforcement, but we don't. It doesn't matter the approval rate of the police forces.
True.
What truly matters is that they're getting their job done, that they're working towards reducing the crime rate and keeping Americans safe. So I wouldn't look at a study from the University of Richmond saying that the approval of the police forces was increased by reforms and diversity in the police force. I would rather look at a study talking about the crime rate, if the crime rate went up or down, considering that. So I think that's a faulty study. Keep in mind that the Muslim countries were actually more progressive. And please, people, calm down with all the questions, okay? I'll get to your question one at a time, okay? So keep in mind that the Muslim countries were actually more progressive at one point in history, while Europe was suffering from rights being stripped. Islamic states were progressive.
And if my grandfather had tits, he'd have been my grandmother. What's your point?
Maybe they were progressive like in the 1100s, but they're not progressive now. That's like saying, at one point in history, we had segregation. Do we have segregation now? No, we don't have segregation now. So what's your point with that? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
They had an education system as well as a lot. That's the same question. That's the same thing. I don't care what happened 500 years ago.
Yeah.
I care what's happening right now in my country. Name a single place in America where Muslims has forced their belief on people. What about that place in Michigan? What's it called?
Dearborn.
I'm
Dearborn.
sorry?
Dearborn.
Dearborn, Michigan. Exactly. Dearborn, Michigan. A lot of restrictions on what you can, on schools over there in Dearborn, Michigan. So obviously we've seen a lot of things with that. So I can name a single place in America where Muslims have forced their beliefs on people, and that's Dearborn, Michigan. Also, American culture was based off foreigners. Hamburgers are German. Fries are Belgian. Oh, my God. Listen, let me tell you a story. So, the United States of America was not born out of nothing. So 500 years ago, there were a bunch of people from Britain, and they came on a boat called the Mayflower, and they came over to America, and they landed in Virginia. And those people weren't originally American. So I don't know what you're talking about, that American culture is based off foreigners, because American culture is based off European culture, and that's not a foreign culture. That's not a foreign culture. If we're going based off that logic, let's go back all the way to, what was the first civilization? Let's think about that. The Semitic civilization.
Yep.
So let's say France. Okay, France. So your culture is based off of your culture. You invented your own culture, but you weren't just originally from France. You came from another place, and then thousands of years ago, your people migrated to France. So, you're actually doing a lot of cultural appropriation, France. So I don't feel good about that, France. You got to stop culturally appropriating your food. So that's a very dumb. Let's see about the next one. You can apply this logic to literally any people group, including white people. In fact, especially white people.
Yep.
Especially white people.
Whitey.
What does that mean, though? You can apply this logic to literally any people group. The difference is that this is a foreign people group.
Yes.
When a foreign people group is a threat, you have more ways to prevent that. For example, let's talk about white on white violence. We've actually seen a lot of white on white violence, but we've also seen black on black violence. We've also seen, immigrant on immigrant violence. So, when we're talking about Muslim violence against Americans, that is something that we can prevent through, our international laws. We can prevent that through, closing the border. We can prevent that through immigration restrictions. We can prevent that through, restricting the amount of inflow from certain countries. It was actually until 1965 with the, I'm not sure which bill it was called, but it was passed by President Johnson in 1965, which allowed a lot more immigrants to come into the country. Until then, we actually didn't have as high of a crime rate concerning foreign immigrants, because we specifically took in immigrants from European countries. So let me find that bill, the 1965 Immigration Act. Yeah. Okay. So the Hart-Celler Act of 1965, also called the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965, that allowed immigrants to come in from foreign countries, not countries just strictly focused on Europe, but countries from the Middle East, from Asia. And while obviously every bill has its ups and downs, that bill has, that bill can have its positives and its negatives. It's had a lot more negatives because, it's thanks to Hart-Celler that now we see that, the culture of America is being eroded. We see the demographics shifting. We see a lot more people coming into this country than we really should have. Yeah. No wonder we're having an issue with the housing crisis, because we're taking in way more people. We're taking in way more people than we should. And no wonder people can't afford a house now. So I think that, there's a difference between foreign violence and domestic violence. Yeah. We can make restrictions. We can make restrictions for domestic violence, but if we were to take your logic at face value, we would deport everybody.
Everybody get out.
So, that's really not a good question.
All right, let's. We got to jump ahead here and get caught up. We're a little
Okay, I'll
behind
take
here.
the rest of the question very fast. Crime in Chicago has seen significant historic drops as is 2025, following various reform efforts, with homicide down over 29%, shootings down 35%, and robberies down 36%. Okay. But the thing is that even though the crime is dropping, it's not dropping at a rate, close to. It's still one of the most deadliest cities in the country.
Yeah.
Just because you're starting to get out of the toilet doesn't mean you're out of it yet. Okay. Thoughts on Burkina Faso? Oh yeah, I have a lot of thoughts based on Burkina Faso. They're one of the greatest African countries. Maybe even better than Egypt. Burkina Faso, what a great country. Okay. Name a single restriction in Dearborn, Michigan. Okay, so restrictions in Dearborn, Michigan, implemented by Muslims. Well, obviously we have the education.
Yeah.
Some they're and they also they're the city council has been implementing a lot of things now
Sharia type things.
Yeah, a lot of well, not exactly Sharia law, but things similar to Sharia law. And now people in Dearborn, Michigan, they don't feel like they're living in the same place that they grew up in. So that's an issue. The whole point of the argument was that we imported culture from Europe. We already talked about that.
Yeah.
The American people were originally white, Anglo-Saxon, Protestant, and racist against other whites. There was no white identity. It is a new concept in American society. Even Catholics were discriminated. Yeah, but that was like in 1927. Like, we don't have to be talking about that now. That was 100 years ago. Now Catholics are considered white. Get what? Polish people are white now. Did you know about that? Newsflash. The Polish are white now. The Italians are white now.
He must have missed the meeting.
So, all right, that's all the questions we're going to take because we got to move on. But thank you for all your questions, everybody. That was a lot to go through.
Yeah,
I'm sorry if I didn't go through every single question that you were asking, every single intricate detail.
I was impressed. You burnt through this pretty quick. I was just gonna pick one and go, "Hey, what about this one?"
I'm sure they're gonna find some way to
get
angry at me.
They will. They always do. They always find a way to be offended by something or upset.
It's great. I'm glad to see a lot of people are watching the show.
Oh, it's nice.
Yeah.
Damon draws a crowd. He's a good guy. All right. So the next thing we're going to talk about is, I call him Humpty Dumpty, and you're going to see why when we show his picture. That is an egghead. You cannot change my mind. That is an egghead.
Wow.
His name, if you don't know, is Brian McGinnis. He is a candidate for the Green Party. Senator for the Green Party candidate for Senate in North Carolina. He is more commonly known as this. Let's show the next picture. He was the Marine, and I use that word in quotes, who wore his uniform to a Senate hearing on the war in Iran and literally disrespected and embarrassed that uniform by showing his ass, screaming and yelling. And then what they didn't show on the video is he was asked several times to remain seated and be quiet. When he didn't do that, they said, if you don't do that, you're going to have to leave. And then it went on like, well, sir, now you have to leave. And he refused to leave. When they came over is when they started recording. So there wasn't just all of a sudden the cops rushed the guy and were dragging him out. There was a buildup to that. And people are saying, well, it's his First Amendment right. He's got a First Amendment right to speak. Obviously, you've never been in the military. Once you put that uniform on, you don't have the same rights as a civilian. You have obligations. And you follow a different set of laws in a uniform. It's called the Uniform Code of Military Justice. And you do not have the freedom of speech while you're in that uniform. You are to conduct yourself in a manner becoming of the military branch of which the uniform you have on. He had no right to do what he did. He had no right to say what he said. He is an embarrassment to the Marine Corps and an embarrassment to the military. Anybody who defends him doesn't know what you're talking about. If he had a grievance, there were many avenues he could have taken. He could have testified. He could have written a testimony. He could have asked to speak. He chose to bypass all that because he felt entitled. Because I have a uniform on, I can do and say as I want. No, sir, you cannot. And then he said he broke his arm. No, they didn't break his arm. You broke your arm. They were trying to get you out and you didn't want to leave. You did that to yourself. I don't like when people use a uniform as a prop. And that's exactly what he did. He used that as a prop for his campaign because now he's all on TV. He got what he wanted. And it's disgusting. Men have died wearing that uniform. And he used it as a smoke and mirrors and a magic trick so people would notice him. I can't stand that. What do you think about him? I'll quiet down.
I think that you're very passionate about that because, you know, you're a member of the military or a former member. And I wasn't, I actually didn't know about that rule concerning the uniform. I didn't know that you couldn't have your uniform to make a public statement. I didn't know that that wasn't allowed. I think that, you know, he had a grievance, obviously. He could have stated it in a much better way without the uniform. But, you know, he obviously used the uniform to get his message out. His message was, nobody wants to die for Israel.
Yep. And hands off Iran.
I mean, obviously nobody wants to die for Israel. The only reason that you joined the American army, if you want to die for Israel, you join the IDF. If you want to die for America, you join the U.S. Army. So obviously that's not what anybody wants. And also, you know, he broke his arm in the process. That was shocking. I could hear the crack, and that was brutal.
Yeah, it was brutal, but
yeah. And I'm surprised he didn't break down crying, honestly, because that's what I would have done if I broke my arm. But, you know, to cut it short, I think that he shouldn't have used the uniform.
No.
I think that his message was I think his message was okay. I don't think we have to fight for Israel. And I think that, you know, honestly, I don't think we need to put any more attention on this guy as is.
No, I hope he fades away into obscurity and people forget who he is. And before we wind up with him, he was charged with 3 counts of aggravated assault on a police officer, 3 counts of resisting arrest, and a misdemeanor charge of obstruction and something else, which I never heard of. So I'll have to look it up, but obstruction. I think 3 of those are felony charges, the assault on a police officer, the rest are misdemeanors, but he's looking at some serious time. And if he's still receiving a pension from the U.S. Marine Corps, they can do something about him too for wearing a uniform and making a public political statement. They can hold him accountable according to UCMJ, and I hope they do if he's getting a pension.
I agree. Yeah.
There were so many other ways he could have done this and made his point and been taken seriously. He chose not to, and I can't forgive him for that.
I'm going to take one last question because this is actually a very important question.
Okay.
It was a question taken earlier, and we don't have that much time left, so I'll take it really quickly. What are your opinions on trans people?
Oh.
Now, don't worry. I think that there's 3 issues when it comes to trans people. One is the personal issue, which that being transgender, it harms you in a way. It harms you very badly. And I'm going to explain that. Thirdly is on a civilizational issue, which is that when we start diluting what it means to be man and what it means to be woman,
yep, that
destroys society and it leads to generational decay. And the last issue is when it comes to how we determine what transgender means. Is it a mental illness? Is it something else? Is it something in between? I think those are the 3 issues. So first, I'll talk on the personal issue. There have been many studies done concerning this, and in every single study, it has been shown that transgender individuals and homosexual individuals as well, but mostly transgenders, have a much worse quality of life concerned to the general population. 40 to 42% of transgenders try to commit suicide. 10 to 20% of homosexuals try to commit suicide. Meanwhile, that's just 4 to 5% for the general population. That is a massive shift. We go from 40 to 5. That is clearly unhealthy. Suicidal thoughts. 81% of the transgender population has suicidal thoughts. That's according to a study by I believe it was Williams University. All of these stats are coming from Williams University, so you can look that up. You can look up that study, and you can see that all my claims are backed up by that study. 16%, around 16% of the transgender population has been incarcerated. That means that they've gone to prison, compared to 2 to 3% of the general population. That's a big shift.
Yeah, it is.
Depression, 40 to 60% for transgenders, 20 to 30% for homosexuals. Meanwhile, it's only 8 to 10% for the general population. That's on depression. When it comes to anxiety disorders, 30 to 40% of the transgender population, according to that study, 30 to 40% suffer from anxiety. 25 to 35% of the homosexual population suffers from anxiety, according to that report. Meanwhile, for the general population, it's higher than usual, and that's due to, as a country, we're moving away from Christianity. We're going towards atheism as a society, but it's still 18 to 20%. Severe psychological distress, 35 to 40% for transgenders, 4 to 5% for the general population. So by all metrics, being transgender or being homosexual, it decreases your quality of life. Because it's not ordained by the Bible. It's immoral. It is objectively bad for your mental health. And it is objectively bad for your quality of life, because you're more likely to go to prison, you're more likely to have a mental illness, and you're more likely to have suicidal thoughts. So that's on the personal level. We have 5 minutes left, so let's finish this quickly. On a societal level, I like to call them the three horsemen of destruction. The three horsemen of destruction. That's atheism, Karl Marx. Then you have degeneracy from Alfred Kinsey. And then you have evil, and that's Sigmund Freud. Alfred Kinsey was the person who he's essentially the hero of the transgender community. He was the first person to really look into transgenderism. And one of his worst acts was when he had a small child, and the small child had a botched circumcision, so they had to remove the entire penis. Damn. And what Dr. Kinsey did is that Dr. Kinsey ended up going to the family, and he convinced them, because he was a very convincing person. The devil is very slick, that. And Alfred Kinsey, he ended up convincing that family to join his experiment. And that young child was convinced that he was a woman from a very young age. When he ended up being a teenager, he figured out that he was actually a man. And then in his 30s, he ended up killing himself because he couldn't live with that idea. He couldn't live with that fact. And that is the man who essentially pioneered the science of transgenderism. So on a societal level, transgenderism is evil. It came from evil origins. It came from the desire to remove oneself from God, to aspire to be better than God. And it came from the idea, this very postmodernist idea of individuality. And it leads to the destruction of society. It leads to the destruction of society, because when you cannot differentiate between man and woman, that destroys the family structure.
Yep.
That destroys the structure of society. That destroys the civilizational structure. That destroys the entire structure of the country. It destroys the culture. So that is my personal opposition to homosexuality and transgenderism.
I tend to agree. I think a lot, not a lot. There's countries now that are starting to label transgenderism as a mental disorder, like officially. I can't remember what country just did it recently, but they've came out and said that it's now will be viewed as a mental disorder and will be treated as such. And I'm not saying we should go out there and discriminate against them.
And by the way, remember, to Mr. Cahosen, despite being less than 2% of the population, remember, the percentage of barbarians that sacked Rome was less than the population of the Roman Empire.
True.
It was much less than the population of the Roman Empire. Remember that.
All right. Well, we got to wrap this up. We're dangerously close. But I want to thank you for coming on again. I'm sure Damon enjoyed having you come back on the show, even though he's not here. I'm sure he's glad that you're on. I always like having you on, especially tonight. I'm not feeling well, so you can talk. And I was like, yeah, that's good. I'm being sick and being quiet. That's awesome. But yeah, and I'm sure this goes for Damon. You're welcome to come back whenever you want to. Just give us a heads up when you want to come on and we'll put you on. It's not a big deal, man. We enjoy having you on. And I think next time I'm on with you, I'm going to wear a tie too, because I'm really feeling like self-conscious.
All right. Thank you.
Like this t-shirt just ain't cutting it.
Don't worry. You're fine.
I'm old. I can get away with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks a lot. I appreciate your time, and it's always good having you on. Before we wrap this up, there's a video we're going to show you. It's for the Franklin Township Canine Unit. Now, the thing with the Franklin Township Canine Unit is that the canine officers are financially responsible for everything concerning their dog, their partner. Vet bills, food, the equipment they have to have. If they're injured on the job, they're responsible for all those bills. The township does not give any money to the upkeep of the canine, which is crazy because that canine dog is a police officer. If you hurt that dog, you're charged with assaulting a police officer. But it ultimately falls onto the officers to take care of their dogs, and they do it because that's their partner. They don't complain. They take on that responsibility and shoulder it. Damon has put together a song video for them to help raise awareness, because there's going to be I guess I want to say like a fundraiser at a winery coming here soon with 3 pretty big country stars will be singing there. And Damon made this video to kind of bring awareness to it, to get people to come. Because it's a good cause. I can't think of anything more worthy than that. I mean, they're out there fighting what you fear, and they're financially responsible to pay for their partner. They get no help from the government that they're working for, which I think is ridiculous, but that's another story. Let's just go ahead and show that video to everybody, and then I'll come back on real quick, and then we'll get out of here.
All right.
Cut through the Jersey night. Another call, another fight. Partner riding by his side. Poor Paul steady, full of pride. He does not quit, he does not slow. Runs straight where the danger goes. But when the bills come crashing in, the handler pays again. Yeah, the badge is heavy, the job is tough, but these brave dogs deserve enough. Boots on the ground, paws in the fight. K9 heroes working all night. They wear the shield, they hold the line. They give their all every time. If they are officers when danger calls, they should be covered through it all. So we raise our voice and raise this jam for the dogs who always take the stand. Word got out across the land. Country Hearts started a band. Adam Wardrop brought the flame. Bubba Beer backed the name. And Colby Lee Swift with strings that cry, singing for the dogs who never ask why. Just good men trying to make it right. Standing up in the spotlight. Yeah, small town hearts and a country sound. Standing up and laying it down. On the ground, paws in the fight. K9 heroes working all night. They wear the shield, they hold the line. They give their all every time. If they are officers when danger calls, they should be covered through it all. So we raise our voice and raise this jam for the dogs who always take the stand. Stage, crowd gets loud, the good hearts raise. These dogs do not choose the line, still they cross it every time. Till the budget makes it right, we will sing into the night. Boots on the ground, paws in the fight. America, hear us loud tonight. Fund the heroes who cannot speak. Stand by the brave who guard our streets until the day the system stands tall. We will not stop, we will not stall. Country strong and back in the blue. K9 heroes, this song is for you. For every handler standing tall, and every dog who gives his all.
So that was written by Damon Galdo for the excuse me, the K9 unit. That again is on May 30th at 1 p.m. at the Bellevue Winery in Landisville, New Jersey. It opens at 1 p.m. again. It's probably going to run all day and probably into the evening. And it's for a good cause. If you can get out there and support the K9 officers, I'm sure they would appreciate it. Anything you can give is helpful. $1 to $10,000. They can make use of it. So yeah, I hope y'all can make it out there. I might even drive up there. I drove up there once before. Maybe I'll do it again. I don't know. My father's a retired cop, so I got a soft spot in my heart for police officers anyway. They do a job that not many people could do, and it's a thankless job. So anytime we get to thank them, I try to be part of that. Well, thank you very much. Again, Damon's out there getting some signatures that he needs so he can make Jersey a better place for everybody. So if you see him, sign his petition. And if you can't sign it, find somebody who's in his district and can. I'm not familiar with the rules on that, so I don't know what to tell you. But if you live in his district, you can sign it. If you're Republican, you can. So make sure you're supporting him. And if you can't sign his petition, give him money. Running a campaign is not cheap. It's not cheap at all. He needs all the help he can get. Door knocking, donations, whatever you can do to help him, I'm sure he would appreciate it. He's up against the juggernaut in the liberal, as he refers to lovingly as Fredo. So give him a hand. Damon needs all the help he can get. And also remember, we're going to have that interview with the deputy. I'm sorry, let me read it one more time. The Deputy State Secretary of the Prime Minister's Cabinet. Martin, and his last name, again, if I mispronounce it, I apologize, is Ugrosti. That'll be done by Alexandra and Alexandra Levine Live, Thursday, March 12 at 8 p.m. This channel, Rumble, X, wherever you watch this, you can watch that on there too. It'll be very interesting. And it's our first international interview with a high-ranking member of another government. So try to tune in for that. It'll be really good. Again, I'm Seth Eisenberg from the Conservative Corner. I had fun sitting in. I'm glad our guest was great. Again, he is very smart, and I'm going to have to wear a tie next time because I feel like I live under an overpass and eat out of dumpsters when he shows up in his suit and tie. I feel less than. So I'll have to address that next time I'm on. So everybody have a good evening. Have a good week. Remember Wednesday at 8, The Pulse, same bat time, same bat channel. I will see you then. Everybody have a good evening. Thank you very much.
Yeah. This one's for New Jersey. For every working family that's had enough. Name's Damon Galdo. And I'm just getting started. Job site dust to the streets of the shore. Steel-toed boots, yeah, I know what I'm working for. Middle class hurting, every bill going up. While suits in D.C. say, man, just trust us. I'm a builder by trade, put my sweat in the ground. Now I'm building up hope for my hometown. Jersey's my home, blue-collar soul. I don't make excuses, I get it done, that's all I know. I felt the pressure, I've lived that grind, trying to give your kids a better life. I won't forget where I came from, man, cause I'm built by work. I'm built by working hands, fighting for working families. keeps drowning in the same old pain. I'll build a future strong for our kids in this land. I'm Damon Galdo, built by working hands. Yeah. Donald Norcross been there year after year. Same old story while the struggle's still here. Claims he's for workers, but look around town. Rent sky high, grocery bills breaking us down. Where's the relief for the middle class grind? Cause all I see is folks falling behind. I ain't got decades in some DC chair. I got skin in the game, cause my family's here. Time, they had their shot. And tell me, Jersey, what have we got? It's time for change, time for a stand, time for work, and not another plan. Not another plan, not another plan. Yeah! I'm built by working hands, fighting for working families. Not some suit who sold you fantasy. We waited long enough, it's time to demand a future built by honest hands. For Jersey strong, for this great land. I'm Damon Galdo, built by working hands. Yeah, this ain't left, this ain't right. This is fight for what's right. For every mom working double shifts, every dad praying they don't miss. I'm running for my kids, running for yours, for a state that deserves so much more. Not talk, that's the plan. Let's build it back with a working man. For our children's dreams, for a better way. I'll fight for Jersey every day. No empty words, I'll take the stand. Cause I'm built by work. Yeah, I'm built by working hands, fighting for working families. While the old guard keeps playing the same old game. But we're done with waiting, done with excuses. It's time for a man who knows how to do this. I build a future strong for our kids in this land. I'm Damon Galdo, built by working hands. New Jersey 1st District. If you're tired of the talk and ready for work, walk with me. Galdo, Galdo. Galdo, Galdo. Galdo, Galdo. Make the crowd chant with no music.
The Hammer thanks you for watching tonight's Jersey Shore podcast. See you at the next packed show, from breaking news to topics that will keep you informed. So please click the subscribe button to get notified of upcoming episodes. If you like what the Hammer talked about, then share the Jersey Shore podcast to others. Damon also looks forward to seeing you on the next episode.